you are GM of the CGMA, lots of letters in that. How is it? How long have you been here?
I've been here a whole 6 months now. Ooh. I actually passed my probation this week.
Oh, did you? Oh,
so,
congratulations.
Yeah, that's right. So thank you very much.
Was it touch and go?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. We'll have to ask the board. No, it was good. So yeah, no, glad to be here. So I suppose now I've done my 6 months. Feet are officially under the table. I'm sort of in now.
And it must have been, presumably, a completely alien concept, an alien world to you.
Yeah, it's, I think it is to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that we're probably going to talk about is that not a lot of people know this is here.
Yeah.
They might have some kind of link to it or some kind of conscious link to it. But yeah, this is the best wholesale fruit and veg market in the UK. And it's one of the biggest and best ones in Europe. But people don't know it's here. But for me, coming in, I actually came into it through railway arches.
Oh, okay.
So I knew about the site because of the arches that we've got down here. So I was aware of that, but then of course, no, you're not aware of the scale of what's here. It's absolutely incredible.
No, and so, okay, so you've come from a sort of development background, property development, is that right? Is that fair?
Yeah, I used to work for a company called Arch Company who took all of the railway arches in England and Wales off Network Rail and then run that as an estate. And actually some of these units aren't part of that because the CPO by the market in 1971 when it moved from Covent Garden. But eventually these will actually go back to Network Rail in 50 years' time.
Oh, will they?
So I was aware of the estate because of that.
Amazing. Okay, and you are in the midst of a development here.
We are.
What phase, where would you say we are? I mean, obviously the wholesale guys have moved into the brand new buyers walk, which is fantastic. You had the first food service unit there as well. So the two blocks in.
Yep.
What's to come?
So yeah, 2 blocks in, Buyers Walk opened on sort of in January, and that was massively symbolic for the market. I think the next phase really is Block C going into, that's the 3rd block. So we've got just a quarter of the old market left.
Oh, wow.
The nub end of the old shed just over there. And now we've sort of got a level playing field, as it were. So that shed will start going up. These guys move over, and then the second half of the shed gets put in. So really the fruit and veg wholesale market, in the next year, 18 months, that will be done. And then we move on to the flower market, which is going right below where we are.
Literally at the bottom of this building.
Literally at the bottom, and then stretching out in front of us. So yeah, and that's really exciting because we get the fruit and veg market rolling, and that's going great guns. That will continue to do so. And then we start to look here. We start to look out, basically with the flower market, because it moves over from where it is at the moment and what's called the entrance site, sort of off the Battersea Power Station. Very visible. That is a temporary building, and it's been temporary for 10 years now. So what we've got a chance to do here is really make the flower market the jewel in the crown of the market, because it will help to bring people in, not only to the flower market, but also to the fruit and veg market.
I was 16 the first time I went to the flower market when it was under the arches. I've lost my bearings. Where is it? You had to go under the railway bridge.
Yeah. So the
over there,
entrance
wasn't it?
Out there, yeah. And then it was just over there. So there's the US Embassy.
That was it,
just behind where that crane is, yeah.
Yeah, amazing. And so they've sort of moved 4 times. They were in the original market. Yeah. In the West End, Then they came here over there. Now they've moved to a temporary one, but they're going
down here. Yeah,
it feels quite symbolic and quite important that everything is going to be in one walkable area.
Yeah,
that's quite exciting, isn't it?
Oh, it's really exciting because I think the site has gone down from about 60 acres to 39 acres, and again, like people don't know, it's here 39 acre site. It's actually bigger than the Battersea Power Station site.
Yeah.
But that's what we'll end up with. But we'll end up with basically a teardrop. Narrows here, and then it really fills out at the back with the fruit and veg. But what we've got across the front here is we've got a right of way in perpetuity, and we've got the tube station and the US Embassy.
Yes.
So this will be the main sort of public-facing thoroughfare, and we'll have the flower market right here, big glass frontage,
welcoming
retail units come in. And the roof that we're stood on as well. We want to do something with this, because it's really important for us to. As I said, this is a world-class market. Yeah. And it's certainly the biggest and best one, the premium one in the UK at the minute. But this is a major part, sort of below that, of a food pillar in London. Yeah. It's been really interesting for me coming in and reading about the history of the market, and not just the history that goes back hundreds of years, but also the recent history. Like during COVID, the importance of this market was really highlighted when the supermarkets struggled with their supply chains. Yes. And this market didn't, because they procure things differently. And that's really important for food security in London and in this country. But we need to build on that, and we really need to pull in the public, and we need to have a bit more of a retail offering. We need to make it a destination in London's food scene. We already supply so many top end places, and also like schools and anybody else who needs catering. But we're a bit anonymous, and what we really want to do is make this like a proper European food destination in the same way that some of the European ones are.
You're right. I mean, obviously, incredibly familiar to me, this market, and anyone sort of in this sector. But beyond that, there is a slight disconnect. But it's a £1 billion a year market of food that's going to sort of, certainly every corner of London and far beyond. So, am I right in thinking the future is obviously the old Covent Garden Market?
Yeah.
That retail piazza, restaurants, retail, all of that. Do you think there's a future where new Covent Garden is a mixture of that and the wholesale market and the food service market?
Absolutely, and they drive each other. There's a clear link there, especially with the flower market below and the food and veg market behind. You can really drive all that stuff through. People talk about a lot of field to fork. We get a lot of producers coming in here from not all over the world, all over Europe mainly, but also from the UK. And we can literally, we've got a base here to just put that out to the public. And also as well, people like these destinations. People have talked a lot about Borough Market in the past. That used to be a wholesale market, and I'm not proposing we do something similar there, but you've got to take inspiration from all these sites. And one of the things me, the management team and CGMA in general, and the tenants are starting to do is feed into this like shared vision and try and understand what other people are offering, because this will be unique, which it should be, and it will be right for this site. But essentially, it's linking what we've already got, that foundation, making it stronger, and then pushing it through to the public.
I mean, it's really exciting to do that, but I think it would not only be nice, and this area of London has changed unrecognisable. I mean, it's become arguably the centre, hasn't it? It's sort of become a really integral part of modern London.
Yeah, I mean, look at it.
Yes.
The funny thing is I think the tallest building from here to Vauxhall used to be Market Towers.
Yes.
And I think that was 7 stories high. Now there's a 27-story hotel there.
I mean, this is all like brand new, isn't it?
I think it's 7,500 flats have gone in here.
Is that right?
Yeah, in the past 10 years. And there's that, so that's happened locally. But then within London, I think 1 million square foot of F&B has gone into just the city of London alone.
Is that right?
Yeah. So you've got these two balances. That will, that carries on doing what it's doing, and we grow it and we make it really strong. We make it integral, as it is. But look at the opportunity we've got here to do something on this site. It's absolutely fantastic.
And there's a real importance to this as well, because there is a question of wholesale markets viability in the modern day.
Yep.
In other parts of the country, possibly even in other parts of London.
Yeah.
That presumably will make this more sustainable and give you that sort of assurances that it will remain.
Yeah, I think the wholesale model fundamentally works, and it is a good business model, and it's worked in the past, and you can definitely see it working in the future. It changes and it ebbs and flows, but essentially how business is done out there is very similar to how it's always been done.
Yeah.
And I can't really comment on what's happened in other markets, but you can see it happening, and it's sad. I think if you look at other cities in Europe, they either have one wholesale market that covers everything, or they still have the wholesale markets they've always had. It looks like in London we might not be in that situation in 5-10 years, which is a shame. But here on this site, we can definitely preserve fruit, veg, and flowers, and not just preserve it for a sort of austerity or because it's something we want to do. It's because it's commercially viable, and it's something which is so integral to not just London food scene, but London as a whole.
Yeah.
And when we get this right, it will absolutely fly. It can be a wholesale market and a cultural destination. It'd be fantastic.
That is brilliant. I mean, if you think if you asked 1,000 Parisians, or if you asked every Parisian about Rungies, they would all know about it intimately and have a very strong, sense of affection for it.
Yeah.
That's what we need to create here for this market, isn't it?
Exactly that, yeah. And people are proud of it, they're protective of it, they see the value in it, whether they're a wholesaler coming in from Suffolk, or there's somebody who comes in and buys 2 mangoes and has a nice chat with somebody on Buyers Walk, or it's somebody who comes here for dinner because they've never had such good, fresh British food in London.
But if it just connects the produce to the people. That's the thing. It's an educational piece, isn't it? And I think the better understanding that we can have of where our food comes from, what's involved in it, and maybe a slightly greater appreciation of that.
Yeah, I think
that can only be a good thing, can't it?
Yeah, I think so. And again, one of the unique things that we've got on this site is on the building we're stood on the first floor, we've got something called Mission Kitchen.
Yes.
And that's something which does a lot of really, really good work in bringing sort of food startups into play. So it's not just sort of fruit, veg and flowers and the wholesale that we're doing, it's also we're creating food businesses.
Yeah.
And they've got a really strong track record of taking people from one table, because they baked some bread during COVID, or they really like paneer cheese, into stuff that's been stocked in all the major supermarkets.
Yeah.
So not only is it something what we can do to promote fruit and veg and people have an understanding of their food, but people who want to have a career in food, or they've got a good idea, we can actually help them transition into that market. So we really are sort of a one-stop shop for food if we get it right, and we get the sort of food offering for the public right as well. Yeah,
to go from a wholesale and food service market to an actual food hub.
Yeah, that's it.
That will be an enormous success, and we're pretty close now, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean the sort of development finishes in 2028.
Right. Okay.
And that hopefully we get the flower market in before Christmas, and we want to get them in 3 months before Christmas, so they got a time to get set up and have a run at it. And then I think from 28 to 30, that's when we're really planning sort of the next phase, which is we really look at that food offering. We look at how we develop sort of F&B. We really look at how we work with the tenants in both markets, so that it's set up so that they can benefit from that public-facing offering. But I think it's starting to become a shared vision across the markets and the market. Like we've started to see people experimenting and wanting to open up on a Saturday, because we've got Buyers Walk, and again, Buyers Walk is something people might not know what that is.
No.
But within the market, it's integral. It's the heartbeat of the market, and essentially, what it is for people who don't know is just probably one of the biggest open spaces in London. Again, completely hidden.
Like huge, a corridor.
Yeah, huge 300-foot corridor. You can see from one end to the other, and that will start to open up hopefully on a Saturday morning, and people will sell produce to the public. And a few traders are starting to experiment with that. So even now, we're talking, 2026, and we're saying, well, 28 to 30 is when we'll really start to go great guns with it. We're starting to see the genesis and the seeds of what we think the market can become. So it's really good.
It's amazing. But you're actually right. In COVID, there was a pivot to become a more retail-focused supplier because their customer base had been shut down.
Yeah.
If you could run all of those things together, serve the catering businesses and the manufacturers and the food producers, and some to the public as well. Hopefully you've got all your bases covered, really, haven't you? And it'll be interesting because some of the wholesale businesses, they're big businesses, and that isn't what they perhaps want to do at the minute, or it isn't perhaps what they can do at the minute, because it's quite different to suddenly flip down, because you have to employ staff, and you have to employ staff in hours where they traditionally might not have worked. Guys here are working through the night on a Friday, and then maybe to ask them to stay on until 12 o'clock on a Saturday. You might get a short shrift.
But if it starts to work, you'll see it will be worth doing. And also from a landlord's point of view, we have to look at things like the boring stuff, like the security, the health and safety, but also what else is there? Eventually can you build up into food trucks? What's our coffee offering? And we're very lucky on Buyers Walk. We've just let the 2 cafes as well. So when they go in, that'll make a massive difference, not only to the market traders during their usual night shifts, but then also, if those guys want to open up on a Saturday, because they've got a bit of a captive market, it's another avenue of trade for them. So really, if we can start to develop this from now until 2030 and just start to feed in that retail and push and poke and see what comes in and what doesn't work, then I think by the time we get to 2028 and 2030, we'll hopefully be really flying with it.
And it makes total sense. If you look at any business, what you want to do is you want to look at, efficiencies and capacity.
Yeah.
And you're right. I mean, the market's shut now.
Yeah.
We're sort of, most people aren't even at work yet.
Yeah.
And the wholesale market is done.
Yeah.
Until 8-9 o'clock tonight. So if there was some way of utilising and optimising that during those hours that didn't conflict or cause any issue, that would make enormous sense.
Exactly. It's on a very basic business level. We've effectively got what is could be classed as a large industrial estate, but it's focused on fruit and veg that's closed during the day. It's open at night. And normally it's the other way around, you know. But so we are very, very lucky. But yeah, as you say, what we want to try and do, we've got to work in conjunction with the tenants because it cannot impact their businesses. I think, you know, people do start at 8, 9 o'clock at night here, but really, you know, it's sort of turning into a 24/7 operation. Yeah. But there is definitely still scope to do something which benefits the tenants and also benefits the public and keeps this market sort of as it is and also promotes it in London's consciousness. Amazing.
Well, it sounds like you've had an incredibly busy 6 months. It sounds like you've got a few more busy months ahead. I wish you the very best of luck.
Cheers, Chris. Thank you very much.